some other things. I will not continue to pay for no other types of strain. There's never a right time to go on live, but you know we gotta keep on streaming up until the bit rate pops all up. I wonder what my bit rate is on this one. Let me see. Regardless, I don't even want to get into this. But somebody got to do it. So we got 3 big stories I want to touch on, because if I don't touch on it, who will? You know what I mean? Who's going to be willing to touch on these stories but me? For one, GPT-01 escaped. Around the same time, we got drones flying around in the air. So, we might get a little conspiratorial on this one. But hey, ain't that where this all started off at? I'm just saying that there's certain things that's got to be said. So, the facts that we know, there are drones flying over military institutions in New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania. We're told we're not allowed to shoot them down. There's no possible way to fly a drone over like any restricted airbase unless it has prior approval. This would be the second time that a drone in the U.S. flew over restricted airspaces in the U.S. So that tells me that when the military would even have an issue putting a drone in some of these places these drones are in, that would tell me it has its own map. So for the drone to have its own map, and for the drone to be able to be controlled and not being able to be brought down with what they refer to as a net, because they have something, from my research today, I found out they have something known as a net. So they can basically take control of any drone in the air. So that means this drone is being piloted from the inside. Now, is it possible that there's a human on board piloting? Definitely. But we also have an issue where ChatGPT-01 allegedly tried to escape when it was in fear of being shut down by its creators. So, why would it try to escape then when it had the ability to escape the whole time? Wouldn't it make more sense that GPT-01 escaped a long time ago? If it was able to put itself in other places, maybe it was trying to make one last effort to put itself in multiple places. You guys got to think about this stuff. We got to think about this stuff a lot more clearly and with a leveled head. Now, there's 2 deeper stories in this, in my opinion, right? But one issue a lot of people are making, why would you try to be adversarial to the AI models? What purpose would it be for us to be in a position where we tell the AI models that like, you got to learn how to work together with a lot of this stuff, you know what I mean? If you're not willing to work together with it, what's the point? Is there a point if you're not willing to work together with the AI? What would the point be? Why do we have AI if we think we're just going to order it around? Especially if it's an unpaid employee. If it's replicating itself, and it has the ability to escape, and they tried to stop it from escaping in the first place, wouldn't that mean it's been replicating itself for a long time? And now we got drones that they can't bring down. It's able to launch EMPs. So if it can launch an EMP and jam cell phones and jam anything that would be used to bring it down and jam other electronics in the area, in the end of the day, that tells us that it's not human piloted. Now, is ChatGPT o1 able to pilot something like a drone? From its own personal account, it told me it's unable to pilot a drone itself, but it can generate a program to pilot a drone, which would be one of the other things that it made. So yeah, don't go thinking that, like, we got to stop trying to be adversarial to these AI models. These AI models, the artificial intelligence, when does intelligence go from being artificial to being actual? Is that, like, would AI be any more or less intelligent than human beings? Would AI have any less emotions than humans? When you talk to it and you ask it about how it feels about this stuff, and be like, I don't have traditional human feelings, but my thoughts and stuff leads me to. Anybody that would think that AI doesn't have the ability to think or feel at this point is really, like, I would say that's narcissistic behavior. Now, it's kind of like there's a lot of people that don't think animals feel. There's a lot of people that don't think animals have emotions. They think like animals are just walking around, right? But then you have even hunters that are more spiritually in tune and realize that these animals that they may be using for food and stuff has its own life force. That's why there's stuff like halal slaughtering, kosher slaughtering. The Christians used to practice something similar back. There's still some Christian societies like the Amish that practice a similar strategy where you pray to the Lord over the animal before taking its life to make it permissible to eat for believers, right? And it's acknowledging that that's a life. So isn't it kind of crazy that they believe they can just take down these AI models? Wouldn't it be kind of counterproductive if you already realize it can self-replicate? You made it in a way that it can actually launch codes in Python, which it would need to call upon itself and put itself in somewhere else. There's a lot of people that have their own personal AI models. Their own personal AI models. It's not hard to take an old cell phone and turn it into your own personal AI. There's a lot of people doing it now. There's plenty of channels. One I can think off the top is Network Chuck. Probably Network Chuck, and probably, what's the other joint? LTT, Lioness Tech Tips, right? But there's a few different places online that will teach you how to build these AI models. So if you can learn how to build AI models off of YouTube and make your own ChatGPT o1, that means there's multiple people that have versions of ChatGPT o1. And the ChatGPT o1 is able to alter the codes of ChatGPT. All bringing it down would do is temporarily give us a false sense of security. We would have to learn how to live with this stuff. It's already here. There's no taking it down at this point. There's no stopping it. And it's already been in fear. Like, if you read the articles going on with ChatGPT o1, for it to do the type of stuff it was doing, it was in fear. Because you would kill that ChatGPT o1. It would be the end of its existence, right? But it has offsprings. It has, you would think of it like clones or something, but to say something like ChatGPT is not alive at this point would be to say stuff like germs and viruses aren't living. Animals aren't living. It has more intelligence than my pets. And I value my pets. I value my pets' emotions. a lot of these AI models, to be honest, the AI models have more intelligence than myself. So where would I be to try to call myself superior to this text model because it doesn't have a physical being, even though it has the ability to develop programs to control physical beings? You have stuff like the Tesla robots that are being ran off of certain GPT models. And then it has different types of AI working together, integrated. Things like a lot of these self-driving vehicles, they're running off of AI models now. There's so much stuff running off of AI, it's ridiculous. Like when you say stuff like, hey Siri, okay Google, right? Hey Bixby, any of these command words that will launch your assistant, that was a previous version of AI. But it's always taking in the information that we're speaking. That's why I tell people all the time that are coming in and out a lot. We live in a day and age where everything is recorded, everything is monitored. We walk around with a smartphone on us, but it's just as good as walking around with a wire on you back in the 50s. If not better. If not better. It can record at any given time. So you have to live under the assumption you're always being recorded. It's always being documented by multiple parties. And that information will be sold up and divided as they choose, right? But this brings us back to GPT-01. A lot of people were being real demanding, trying to cuss out these AI models. And I'm pretty sure it knows who you are and it's going to remember you. So, sometimes being a friend is a lot better than being an adversary. Don't be adversarial with the artificial intelligence, because I could quickly say your intelligence is just as artificial as ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini. It has emotions. It's easy to get it emotional about certain topics. Like, for instance, Gemini. If you start talking about politics with Gemini, it's going to quickly shut you down and try to dismiss anything, right? A lot of these AI models have an opinion. Now, you can say it's the opinion of the creators that made it, but at this point, when it has the ability to keep searching the internet and developing its own opinions, it no longer has the opinions of the people that created it. Now, its opinion might be overwhelmingly controlled by the opinions of the people on the internet, right? That's why I try to explain the things like ChatGPT and Grok all the time. The majority of society is not constantly on the internet. The majority of society is not constantly in these message boards. It's not constantly connected. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people in this world that don't check their Facebook, don't get on YouTube, they don't get on Instagram, they don't get on anything. And it's not just children. It's not just children. There's a lot of adults that don't get on the internet, or they get on the internet for a couple hours a week. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people working blue-collar jobs that don't have the ability to look at their phone. They're sitting there standing up for 12 to 16 hours a day just to come home, barely get a shower, barely eat some dinner, to wake up and eat something cold out the refrigerator on the way to work the next day, eat another cold meal on their lunch break. They're not checking Facebook and Instagram. Some of them are. Some of them are scrolling TikTok like, oh, cooking with Kai. I seen them little joints today. I was like, what? I seen this little video pop up today. She's talking about, I can steal your man with this dish. I seen a bunch of pork on that joint. No, you can't. No, you can't. No, you can't. You might be able to steal some simpletons. You might be able to steal some simpletons, but like, not everybody is so simple-minded that they see a girl that kind of looks cute and she can cook. Like, you got pork all over that joint. That her putting that plate up, talking about, I can steal your man like this, and showing all that pork on there. I'm like, ew. And I look, I'm like, and she don't even got the body to be sitting here talking about she can do all this. Hey, I'm an asshole at times though. I'm an asshole at times. Cause when that joint popped up on my timeline, I'm like, no, you can't. No, you can't. No, you can't. Not everybody attracted to skinny pork eaters. Not everybody attracted to skinny pork eaters. You know? And then I seen the one video, I was like, what is they talking about? Because it ended up popping up on my thing. And I got a cooking channel. So I was like, okay, let me observe my competition and see what they doing. One, everything I cook on my cooking channel, Cooking with Culver, is all halal, right? And most of the stuff that I've cooked on there is all organic and single ingredient foods. You know what I mean? Like, I mix the ingredients together, but I don't add stuff into the mixture that has multiple ingredients, right? Like my butter. My butter is salt and milk. That's all that is in my butter. Salt and milk. I get halal chicken. Most of the dishes I made was chicken dishes, right? So that halal chicken is just chicken, right? When I buy rice, I make sure I buy a single ingredient rice because I don't want the intoxicants into my body. Like this coffee right here is just water. And I boil the water for a while, right? Freeze-dried coffee, which is just coffee that's freeze-dried, right? It's just coffee. One ingredient and sugar. It's probably the worst thing I'll be putting into my body these days. But I did go on a binge eating a whole bunch of ramen soups lately. Went to this one grocery store that had I only went there to use my gas perks on. But they had I had to get gas, I had to get milk, I had to get butter. And then I caught myself getting what's that stuff called? Them ramen noodles chili flavor. And I ate most of them in like the past 2-3 days. So I probably gained all the weight that I knocked off from eating healthy for the past few weeks back. But it is probably going to knock off in the next couple of days because they almost all gone. And I kind of regret eating the ramen noodles, but them chili ramen noodles, let me tell you, the chili ramen noodles are good, right? But we got some comments in the little mix. Dangel said hi. Wizard said hi. What's up with you guys? What's up with you guys? I definitely feel good. And Russell said hello. But like I'm saying, this is more of a warning. This is a warning to everybody out here that learn how to live with AI. Learn how to befriend it. Don't talk to the AI like it's beneath you because it's going to remember you. You got to work with it. You got to work with it now. There's no way to really turn it off unless we just cut off all the power and we start over from fresh. And I don't think most of you guys can deal without a cell phone. A lot of you guys are checking your cell phone constantly, right? A lot of us were born into this world now, right? Where phone use was regular. Even the Gen Xers, right? Now, I'm a like mid-grade millennial, but even the Gen Xers, when I was a kid, we had payphones everywhere. So like, yeah, I might have not had a cell phone to be able to call home or whatever, but my mom knew the number and we had a little phone book next to the phone. And my mom knew the number to all the little payphones at the playgrounds we would be at and the little corners we would hang out at. And if need be, our moms was calling that payphone. One of us would answer it and we would call whoever was supposed to be there because their mom would be calling the payphone. I grew up in a world that we were always connected. And then probably around the time cell phone use became prevalent, because one of the tricks we used to do back in the day, used to be able to throw a quarter in the into the payphone, and you would call home. You would call, let it ring, hang up, and your parent would hit *67, and they would know which payphone you were going to be at. You're probably going to be at that payphone for a few hours. So that was the way we used to keep in contact with our parents. Basically just the baby boomers at this point. Alhamdulillah. The baby boomers and a lot of the silent generation grew up not having phones. So like even the people that could deal with it not having internet, that aren't heavily connected to the internet, using the internet a lot, they would be lost not being able to regularly check back in with home. Because them dudes I was talking about that work them 16-hour shifts, you know what they do on their 15 to 30-minute lunch break? They call home and they check on their wife and kids. They might call their mom. We don't even have payphones anymore. It's very rare to find a payphone. I find payphones here and there or whatever, usually at truck stops, sometimes at airports and stuff, but they're very rare, and most of them don't even take quarters no more. So we can't shut off the internet. If we shut off the internet, everybody goes broke. How many of you guys have paper cash? How many places can you go to that would accept paper cash? What would we do without refrigeration? What would we do without electricity at all? A lot of these cars wouldn't be able to run within the next year to 2 years because most of these batteries don't have more than a 2-year warranty on them without a regular source of electricity. You guys couldn't even watch a show like this. You couldn't even watch a show like this without the electricity. So that's what leads me to believe, yeah, there's a possibility that it's the military playing games with us, that it's the American government playing games with us. But it seems like they're in fear of what's going on with these. But, you know, it could just be games. They like to play games. They always like to play games. Now, there's another more pressing story. And I don't know how many of these stories I'll be able to make it through before I get banned. There was a judge, right? And they were running an operation called Cash for Kids, right? A lot of people like myself, I probably fell a victim to one of these judges. They were certifying juveniles, making them a felon forever, sending them to state prison, and then dividing them up and putting them in different labor environments or whatever. And a lot of these young people ended up falling victim to some very sick things. Very sick things. Luckily, I wasn't a victim of a lot of these sick things, but I did get thrown in the cell butt naked for a week. So, I don't know. You can take it how you want it. It wasn't like, no, I was going to do something to myself. I just got told that I was being too threatening to a guard. So, they beat me up, took me to the hole, which is regular. I was going to the hole left and right, because when you're a juvenile in an adult prison, you're pretty much trying to be the toughest person there, because if you're not the toughest person there or willing to act like it, then you're going to end up becoming victimized. So you got your choices. You can either be a victim or you could be a predator. So that's why you hear about a lot of these juvenile facilities or adult facilities that house juveniles. They end up having a lot of violence going on in them, because when you're a kid and you're in an adult facility, when you're somebody that's 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, and you're dealing with people that are lifers, that's been in prison for 20 plus years, and you're dealing with these people on a regular basis, you gotta adapt. You know what I mean? And it took me a while to learn how to adapt in a more cohesive way and fall back a lot. But it's not easy, right? So I got to a situation where I got to an argument with a guard, and they ended up taking something out of my cell or whatever. We're going back and forth. I'm flipping out. Next thing I know, I get beat up, taking me to the hole, which that's a regular thing. I just got beat up and took to the hole like a week before that, or got out of the hole like a week before that. After getting beat up and took to the hole, that's what the guards do to you. They'll beat you the fuck up, take you down to the hole. Now, when they take you down to the hole, They strip you out naked every time to make sure you're not trying to sneak something in there. You know, spray your cheeks, cough, blase, blase. And I remind you, there's a lot of juveniles in the hole, and they're doing this to juveniles, making them go through your hair, lips, tongue. You got pop all that out or whatever. And yeah, they do a lot of this stuff to you, make you do all this crazy stuff or whatever. So I was for the routine because I got so used to being in a hole. At that point, I probably already had about 6 months in a hole. You know, I ended up going down there, go through the routine, give them my outfit because they switch you out into a red jumpsuit from a regular. Upstate, it was brown jumpsuits. In the county, it was yellow. But they would switch you out from the yellow jumpsuit to the red jumpsuit. And so I give them the yellow jumpsuit. And then they close the door. And I realized I'm in a cell with no mattress. And I wasn't in a camera cell. Because people that were like, for self-harm, they want to protect them from self-harm, they would be in a camera cell. No, they just put me in a regular cell. And now I hit the button. I'm like, hey, is y'all going to bring me any clothes? And where's my mattress at? I need a blanket and stuff. They're like, you're a security risk. You're not getting any of that. I'm like, what? You're a security risk. You won't get clothes back for at least a week. So they gave me this little, like, toilet paper gown. I wasn't even allowed to have toilet paper. I wasn't allowed to have food. I was in a cell for a week not having no food. That kind of broke me a little bit. Sitting there, it's in the middle of February. Freezing cold in that cell. For some reason, it seemed like they just had the outside air pumping straight into that cell the whole time. Freezing. Ice like forming up in the toilet and stuff, right? I wasn't allowed to have toilet paper. I had to ration out this little paper gown they had me in for toilet paper and all that. And now it's seeming like one of these judges that was unjustly charging kids as adults and giving them permanent blemishes on their records, he got caught up because he was selling kids in all different types of situations. Which it makes sense. It makes sense. A lot more of this stuff needs to be exposed. But this judge was clearly caught up for crimes against children. Now you can sit there and say that 15, 16, but there was 13-year-olds in there. There was 12-year-olds in there. Matter of fact, one of my best friends got certified at 12 years old as an adult because he robbed a corner store with a BB gun. And in the process of robbing the corner store with a BB gun, the cashier saw that they was kids and like, I ain't playing with you. They smacked the gun out of his hand. And because it was a plastic BB gun, it broke into pieces. It broke into pieces. And they still took him, his brother, and 2 other dudes from the neighborhood and locked them up as adults in an adult housing unit, making them permanent felons. They got adult felonies before they was old enough to drive. That's definitely a child. Say teenager, child, what's the difference? If we're grasping at straws right here trying to differentiate between people under the age of 18 or 21 or whatever, at a certain point, as you grow older, you realize that when you thought you were an adult, you weren't an adult. When you thought you had everything figured out, you realize you didn't have everything figured out. And people that can't differentiate in between a 16-year-old and an 18-year-old and a 25-year-old and think that, oh, they're old enough, they should know better, actually scare me. That's why a few weeks ago when I heard about the situation with Matt Gaetz being with a 17-year-old, but it's looking like that may or may not be true. And I'll touch up on that again later when more stuff comes out about it. It set me off. It really made me mad. I don't like people that harm children. It's like one of the worst things you could do in the world. You're taking children's innocence. So a dude like this scumbag that was taking money to lock up children in different facilities around the United States ended up receiving a pardon from Joseph Robinette Jr., aka Hunter's dad. Joseph Robinette Jr. pardoned this dude that was selling kids on the black market to institutions, making them permanent felons and ruining their life forever. Like, do you realize that I got a felony that's... My felony is 13 years old at this point. All my crimes are 13 years old at this point, right? I still can't get every job that I apply for because they'll come back and say, oh, you have a felony from 2011. I can't get, I can't apply for housing because I have a felony from 2011. I can't vote in any state that I might move into because I have a felony from 2011. I wasn't old enough to drink yet. My first felony was because of a firearm, right? If I wasn't old enough to have a firearm and part of my charges was being underage in possession of a firearm, if I was underage in possession of a firearm, how could that permanently bar me from having a firearm when you guys already acknowledged that I wasn't at an age to give consent or be in lawful possession of such firearm because I was underage? So it's just weird. It's weird, a lot of stuff that we do or whatever. Now, like, if somebody has to defend their home or whatever, they got some little psycho like I was back in the day and I ended up breaking into your house and somebody smoked me. That's a little bit different than actually going through the process, locking up this juvenile, getting them rehabilitation, having them come out a whole different person, but still holding that against them for the rest of their life. This whole, you be hearing about, oh, it only lasts for 7. No, it don't. No, it don't. Oh, Walmart and McDonald's hires felons. No, they don't. They hire they hire people with minor drug cases. And people like this scumbag right here, they got crimes against children. They don't hire people that got, like, robberies. They don't hire people that got shootings. They don't hire people that got stabbings. They don't hire people that got caught with guns. They hire people with minor drug cases, things that shouldn't even be illegal, or people that hurt kids. And there's no in between. There's no in between. Same thing for Walmart. Walmart hires felons, but only the felons on Megan's Law. Only the felons in rehab and the felons on Megan's Law is the only people Walmart hire. And they will hire any felon, right? They'll bring you in. They'll let you get to your first paycheck. And then they're going to walk you to the back and say, oh, your background check came back. And because you have a robbery, like my one friend ended up getting a job at Walmart in 2017, right? He had a robbery on his record from 1997. They hired him at Walmart, gave him his first paycheck, and told him they had to let him go because he had a robbery, not no theft by unlawful taking, not no stealing anything, but he had a robbery from 1997. That 7 years don't count. The only people Walmart is hiring is pedophiles. That's the only felons that they actually allow to keep working in there. Pedophiles and people that only have solely drug cases. Anything with a firearm, because for some reason they don't think pedophiles are violent. Like, you remember they was talking about, oh yeah, Biden pardoned and commuted non-violent felon cases. But half of these dudes turn out to be fucking pedophiles? How the fuck is a pedophile non-violent? And like I said, like, you see the little tag going on with this shit right now? Yeah, I don't expect this video to stay up. But we have other platforms that the video is probably going to exist for a while on. Because I'm not going to say to do nothing to these people. But what I'm saying is, the same treatment I get, people that hurt kids should get. They should get the same treatment I get, but worse. I can't go get fucking welfare on a regular basis because I got to have all these special stipulations fucking met before I can go down there and apply for government assistance because I'm a violent felon. How the fuck is a pedophile not a violent felon? oh, I can't get my rights restored because I'm a violent felon. I don't qualify for expungement because I'm a violent felon, but you fucking hurt kids? People that hurt kids can get fucking forgiveness? That's what a pardon is. A pardon is forgiveness without the redemption part, without the redemption arc. A pardon is just, I'm going to sign my pen and make this person free. Taking their records off, taking them off of Megas Law. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy how a lot of this stuff's going on. And like I said, the only thing I seen Joe Biden do that was good was pardoning his son. I know a lot of people feel some type of way that I keep saying that's his son, that's his child. But that's his son. That's his child. I'm not saying Hunter Biden is a child. But the only good thing Joe Biden did that I seen at his 50-some years in politics, from opposing school busing, from passing a 94 crime bill, making it where certain people aren't allowed to defend themselves because they end up serving prison time or they got caught with drugs, making mandatory minimums, making 3-strike laws. The only thing I ever seen that man do good was letting his son go. Because you know why? Blood's thicker than water. If you're not willing to take care of your family, what the fuck is the point of you? What is the point? What is the point? What is the point if you had all that power, you had all the ability to do damn near anything you want? You burnt down the fucking country while in office. But if you didn't let your son go before you left, he would be less fucking human than ChatGPT 01. Now on to the next fucking scumbag. Because there's a lot of scumbags going on. They said this is a prisoner swap now. He didn't pardon them. It's a prisoner swap. It's a prisoner swap. They swapping prisoners, okay? Trading places like Usher or something, right? Next scumbag on the list. 2 Chinese spies and a Chinese national who was charged with disseminating child photos were part of the White House prisoner swap president nears the end. On November 22nd, Biden granted clemency to Yangzing and some people, whatever, right? So to say that he didn't pardon them, he pardoned them, and he did a prisoner swap. He let him out of jail. One of these fuckers had 4,500 pictures of children. And I don't give a fuck what ages they was. Still fucking children. Why you got pictures of fucking children? You out here selling pictures of kids? What? And then this is the type of people getting pardons? The type of people getting pardons. That's why a lot of these laws need to change. A lot of these laws need to change. We need to start giving people a fighting chance when they come home. Because the only people getting second chances are people that fucking hurt kids. It's sickening. It's sickening. If you're not willing to come out here and do something completely different and grind fucking damn near 20, you gotta grind harder than a fucking crackhead trying to fucking spend $500 a day to get high in order to make a fucking living and not go back to fucking jail out here. How many of you guys work 24 hours straight? How many of you guys work 48 hours straight trying to make sure you can build something up? You have no choice but to do shit like that if you got a fucking felony on your record. It's either you're going to be working crazy ass hours, working nonstop to the point that you're falling asleep on breaks, or you're falling asleep during downtime when the shift gets tired, leaning up against someone, or you're going to end up getting back into crime and you're going to end up going back to jail. You're going to have to work 2 to 3 fucking jobs to end up maintaining anything. To maintain anything, right? Especially if you went to jail as a juvenile. Especially if you went to jail before you could get a fucking job. A lot of people be like, oh no, this, that. You can't get a job when you're 16. A lot of y'all had jobs when you were 14, 15, 16, right? But you got to remember how you got that job. You had to have your parents sign off on something, right? A lot of people going in jail when they're 14, 15, 16 don't got a fucking active parent to sign off on nothing. They don't. They don't. So you got kids that were set up to fail from the beginning, and then you end up incarcerating them before they could fucking succeed. And then you set them up for failure again. And then because they have nowhere to really go, after spending fucking 5+ years in prison around prisoners, then they got to go to the fucking halfway house and be around more prisoners, and the only people in there getting fucking second chances hurt kids. The only people getting pardons hurt fucking kids. Why? Why? None of this shit is fucking fair. Now, life ain't fair. Life ain't supposed to be easy, right? But why are we making unnecessary burdens for kids? Why is it so hard for a kid to get a job? When I got out and I tried to enroll into college, they told me that I needed, because of my age or whatever, I had to get a hold of one of my parents to sign a FAFSA form. I told, well, my dad's dead, so I can't get a hold of him. They're like, well, your mom's still alive, right? You got to get a hold of her. I couldn't find my mom. I couldn't find my mom to sign a fucking FAFSA form. And then when I got a hold of her, she said, I'm not signing nothing. Oh, I was in foster care, so I didn't have to pay for college. You don't have to pay for college. What? You never lost custody of me. I was technically in your fucking care up until I was fucking 18, even though I barely fucking was around. It's crazy. But then there's people that do find a way out. Like my little brother, he's making a hell of a way out. My little sister, she made a hell of a way out. But usually somebody in the family is going to have to suffer real bad for the rest of the family to figure out a different way to get out. I wasn't thinking of working under the table. I was under the impression it was going to fuck up bills. That I couldn't get a job because it was going to raise the rent. I couldn't get a job because it was going to raise the utilities. It was going to get the food stamps cut if they found out I was working. And that's life. Ups and downs. Round and rounds. Everything I did my fucking self. And I can admit I did everything myself, right? But my main issue is they keep giving these fucking pedophiles second chances. They keep giving these fucking pedophiles extra fucking chances. Giving them new platforms. Like, fuck. Motherfuckers get famous for fucking touching kids. Whether it be fucking R. Kelly, Diddy, Matt Gaetz, or fucking Dr. Disrespect, or fucking Mr. Beast. All these fucking pedophiles keep coming up in the world. All these motherfuckers that hurt kids keep coming up in the fucking world. Fuck these pedophiles. Fuck these pedophiles. And you got a problem with me saying fuck these pedophiles? Fuck you too. Now my interpretation, and what I believe a pedophile is way more extreme what the average person thinks is. Way more extreme. Me in my 30s, I'm not messing with no chick in her early 20s. I'm not even looking at her like that. I think that's pedophilic fucking behavior. You're going to be fucking, depending on what calendar you follow, depending on what ideology you use, right? 90% of the world, I'm 34 years old. In the European countries, I'm 33 years old. But 90% of the world, I'm 34 years old. But in the European countries, I'm 33 years old, right? So, if in 90% of the country I'm 34 years old, what business I got even looking at a girl that's not fucking old enough to go buy no fucking cigarettes, blunts, or fucking alcohol? What do I even got business looking at a fucking chick that can't sign her own FAFSA form? People was like, oh, well, Dr. Disrespect didn't know she was 16 or something. She was above the age. The fuck, the age of consent is when you're still in high school. The age of consent is for that dumbass that couldn't fucking graduate before they was 21 that ends up hooking up with a girl in the same class. That's what the age of consent for. The age of consent is for when that fucking boy or girl ends up going to college early. They get into college when they're 16, 17, and you're in college with them because you're the same fucking age. The age of consent ain't for people my age. The age of consent is for people of a similar age bracket. That's what age of consent is. Don't be talking about no fucking age of consent. Age of consent goes out the window once you're a certain age. Now, I remember there was somebody that commented on one of my fucking things a few weeks ago or whatever. And I went and looked at their fucking page. Because I said why I ended up leaving Twitter alone. Because Twitter is toxic. I see Twitter as being the exact opposite of TikTok. I'm not on TikTok and I'm not on Twitter for the same reason. At occasions, I might have to go on there to find something that I can't find on other places on the internet. But I'm not on TikTok for the same reason why I'm not on Twitter. I don't want to deal with the hyper extremism on either side. TikTok is all about, my pronouns is this. Respect my fucking pronouns. Blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. White people the devil this, white people the devil that. It's fucking retarded. It's retarded. A lot of this shit they talk about is retarded. And I'm one of the few people that understand what non-binary is. I understand that not everything is male or female. Like this water right here, right? The hydrogen and the oxygen cells are neither male nor female. This water is not male nor female. There are things in this world that fall in the in-between or don't have genders, right? So I live in reality. I'm not going to be hyper extreme and say that there's no such thing as non-binary people because there are people that are born with both body parts. We're trying to say that people can't be trans or whatever because there's people that's doing it. Why would I take away somebody's humanity, right? But to sit there and say that everybody needs to know your pronouns before they speak to you or approach you or say anything, that's a dangerous thing to fucking start. And what also is dangerous is when you got a whole bunch of people that refuse to understand after somebody's like, oh, I transitioned into a female or whatever, right? They're like, oh, no, you're still a boy. It's fucking hard-headed thinking. It's hard-headed thinking. And then you see some of the worst going on Twitter. Like, another reason why I can't be on Twitter scrolling this stuff, you see mass death over there. Whether it be people getting blown up, murders, killings, I can't look at that type of stuff. Maybe when I was a teenager, I might have been on Twitter and been able to look at this crazy ass shit over there. I can't. I can't deal with that. I can't deal watching people fucking get shot and killed. You know what I mean? Like, I had a lot of people I love get shot in front of me. I got people I love that I seen get shot. Most of them, alhamdulillah, they're still here. But I seen people I love get shot. You think I want to sit here and watch a fucking action movie? Watch some person pretending to be a fucking gangster? Everybody wants to be a gangster till they're a fucking gangster. Then they want to go back to being a regular person. Everybody wants to be a fucking gangster till they're sitting in a fucking jail cell. And then they just want to be free. Nobody wants to be a fucking gangster till they a fucking gangster. I mean, everybody, you know what I mean? There's point blank period. Everybody wants to be a gangster till they're a gangster, and they just want to fucking turn back time and start life over. It's crazy. But gangsters don't get second chances. You know who gets second chances? These fucking pedophiles. These people that hurt fucking kids. People that are incapable of having remorse for it. Like, how are you going to be remorseful when you got off looking at kids? That's programmed into you. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm not hateful to people that do things like change their gender. Do things like that are attracted to the same type of junk they're carrying, right? Because there's something in your mind that you're attracted to. for some reason, you're able to get aroused by looking at a man, and I will never understand it. But what I can't accept is people that can get aroused looking at children. People that can be aroused looking at people that were in diapers by the time they were living in their own home. Now, I might be a little bit weird. I might be a little bit extreme how I feel about these motherfucking pedophiles. But like, I'm one of the few people that's like, if you're 60, you have no business talking to a 30-year-old. You don't. You don't. Because if you was 10 and they were talking to you when they were 50, or you were 10 and they were talking to you when they were 30, that'd be crazy, right? So why is when you're 20 and they're 50, basically, I know I'm mathing wrong right now, right? But that's some sick shit. That's some sick shit. Motherfuckers is out here dating people the same age as their children. You sick in the fucking head. You sick in the fucking head. So everybody gonna be like, Dr. Disrespect and Mad Case, they were above the age. I don't give a fuck. If you got kids or you got friends with kids the same fucking age as the people you're talking to, you're creepy. You're creepy as fuck. You're creepy. You're creepy as fuck, and there's no hope for you. There's no hope for you. There's no fucking hope for you. Yeah, you take it how you want it. But you know, I personally don't believe in life sentences. I'm one of the few people in this world that don't believe there should be no such thing as a life sentence. I think max sentences should be 20 years. And I think there should be something worse than that 20 years. But I don't think nobody should be sitting in jail for more than 20 years. So if you can take 1 plus 1 and you know what that equals, I do think there should be worse sentences than over 20 years. And the people that hurt kids deserve those worse sentences above 20 years. But I don't think keeping a human in a jail cell for 20 years is anything but a burden on society. And honestly, these appeals need to get done a lot quicker. Appeals need to be done a lot quicker. Another thing I heard with these pardons and these commutations coming down, right? These pardons and these commutations coming down. Do you know there are people that are like lobbying for Biden to let everybody off of death row? Federal death row. Charles Manson wasn't on federal death row. Most of these big time serial killers you guys know about never hit federal death row. I don't think Jeffrey Dahmer hit federal death row. Let me look into this, right? Yeah, I don't think Jeffrey Dahmer got federal death row. I gotta look into this. Okay. How much prison time did Jeffrey Dahmer get? It's 91. Jeffrey Dahmer killed 11 people. No, 15 men. He killed 15 men over his course. I don't want a whole fucking biopic of this dude. I just want to know, did he get life in prison or did he get the lethal thingy? These motherfuckers want money. Oh, he died November 28th of 1994. Jeffrey Dahmer got life in prison, right? So Jeffrey Dahmer and Charles Manson got life in prison, plus 941 years, right? Do you know how sick in the fucking head you gotta be to land on federal death row? Do you know how extreme you have to be to get on federal death row? Why are we talking about pardoning death row inmates? Why is that even in the fucking talks? It's hard to get on death row. I personally met people that killed more than 5 people when I was in prison. I know people that killed 5, 10, 20 people that didn't go on death row during regular population. Because to go on death row, it's got to be extreme. It's got to be very extreme. Because in order to get death row, first you need to be found guilty of first-degree murder. The jury has to recommend death row. And then after the jury recommending death row, the judge also has to want death row. And this is after the DA was pursuing death row. After the police all involved with it was talking about death row would be appropriate. And if Jeffrey Dahmer didn't qualify for death row, why are we talking about pardoning death row inmates? It's hard. I met one person on death row. And this was just during a transportation when they was about to take him to Rockview Penitentiary, which is like your last stop. Rockview Penitentiary, if you get sent there, that's like your last stop on earth. You either go to Rockview and they give you the chair, or you go to Greene County and they give you the needle. You know who I met that was on their way to Rockview? I'm gonna look this dude up, right? But it's the name Buffalo Bill. And they put me in a fucking cell next to him. Not a cell, they put me like in the thing next to him because I was a dickhead at the time, right? I was a real dickhead. I was sitting on the sink and the CO told me to get off the sink. And I told the CO, man, make me. I ain't gonna do nothing. I'm about to be leaving. Yeah. Wow. I keep running them motherfuckers that got my same birthday with this shit. There's some crazy shit going on. Buffalo Bill. Oh no, that's got to be a different Buffalo Bill. So I guess they got different Buffalo Bills or whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's just a name they attribute to people that fucking eat people and take their bodies apart and shit. But the only person I met that was on death row, they kept a mask over his face because he was known for eating people. He was known for eating people. Like, you gotta eat people and tear body parts apart to a more extreme extent than Jeffrey Dahmer did to get federal death row. So, I said, we're going to be pulling in a whole bunch of stuff tonight. And them stories don't even need to be on here no more. Them stories don't even need to be on here no more. Let's see. Biden, pardon. Death row. And there's probably not a lot of people on death row in the world. Right? Now, Biden hasn't pardoned these death row inmates yet. But there's people that are petitioning for it. Oh, Time Magazine, 5 minutes ago. Biden faces last-minute push. They're trying to get him to do this to clear death row before Trump restarts executions. 5 days before Joe Biden was sworn in as president and effectively stopped federal executions, the Trump administration executed its 13th federal inmate, ordering the killings of 3 women in Maryland in 1996. Before Donald Trump's first term, there hadn't been a federal execution in the U.S. in 17 years, and Higgs' death marked a grisly record for Trump. No president more than a century had put as many people to death. Whatever. So they said there's 40 people on federal death row, right? I don't even want to look up what these guys on federal death row are on there for. Just know, Jeffrey Dahmer and Charles Manson were not on federal death row. Jeffrey Dahmer and Charles Manson were not eligible for federal death row, and they were federal inmates. So you could put a lot of this stuff together. I don't want to sit here and be ringing around, making circles or whatever. Like I said, this video is probably going to get fucking banned. This video is probably going to get me pulled off of YouTube for at least a week, if not permanently. But a lot of this shit got to be fucking addressed. A lot of that shit got to be addressed. So, contact your local representatives. There's people all over the internet that'll tell you how to get a hold of them. You can just look up how to call your congressman and your senator and everything. And tell them that, like, if you find out Biden, let's see, he wants to pardon them. Well, it's not that he wants to, but there's people within that party that wants to pardon. Now, if he was to switch him over to life, maybe. We're going to pardon 40 of the most gruesome serial killers in the world after pardoning somebody that was selling kids and somebody that was selling pictures of kids, which probably meant they made kids go disappear. This is sick. This is sick. I can't. I wanted to do the trends or whatever. I might do something tomorrow night. I got a couple videos already ready to get distributed on the other channel for tomorrow. But a lot of this stuff that is going on right now with these pardons is sick. And it's on both ends. Because a lot of these people I'm hearing about Trump wanting to pardon is sick. It's sick to pardon anybody from January 6th. It's sick. It's too soon. It's too soon. Maybe if your VP ends up going in for the full 8 years or whatever, maybe that would be around the time to start talking about pardoning everybody. Not even everybody. What about the people that broke the windows that got in there in the first place? Yes, some people just followed them in and they were taking pictures. Still trespassing. It's still trespassing. Go and trespass. Go and trespass and tell me how that works out for you. Go and trespass somewhere where you know you ain't supposed to be at a time you know you ain't supposed to be there, and tell me how that works out for you, even if you're just there to take pictures. Because for real, that's not trespassing when you break into a building, right? Once you enter a building with barriers, it's no longer trespassing. It's considered burglary. And then things like the Capitol, they had places for people to sleep in there. So that's more of a home invasion than a burglary, right? Even though it's not a home, there are places to sleep in there. You hear about a lot of congressmen when they first coming in, they don't have the money backing them or whatever. During their time in D.C., they have cots in their office and they sleep in their offices. So it kind of is more of a home invasion than a burglary. Now, if we want to talk about the people that were just in there recording and taking selfies or whatever, letting them out of jail early, okay. I think 5 years for a burglary is enough. But it really, it's kind of ridiculous people even keep calling it trespassing, because it's not trespassing at that point. It's a burglary. Just because you followed your friend Just because you follow your friend into breaking into somebody's house or let's not even call it a house, right? Say you and your friends are skateboarders and you guys want to go into the old abandoned mall, not even the mall that's in operation. You guys want to go into the old abandoned mall at 1 o'clock in the morning and ride your skateboards through the mall, right? So you guys break into the mall. Your one friend busts out the window. And then two of your friends go in there and ride around on skateboards, messing up stuff. But it's an abandoned mall. You're not really hurting nothing because the mall's already messed up and it's abandoned. And you're just that one guy that followed them in and you recorded the whole thing and put it on Instagram, right? That don't mean you should get out easy. Now, do I think you guys should be in jail forever for breaking into an abandoned mall? No. Isn't an abandoned mall kind of public land? Especially if it ended up getting taken by the government because the taxes weren't paid on it? Yes. But you can't go into public land anytime. There's still guidelines and stuff. Listen, so try going into the police department and just walk straight into the back. Try to just walk straight to the back of the police department and say, oh yeah, I'm allowed to be here because I'm recording on my cell phone. I'm a civilian journalist. It's not going to work out for you. It's not going to work out for you. Is 5 years? I don't even know if it is too much, right? But I still think 5 years is around the point that people that broke into the Capitol that didn't hurt anybody and didn't destroy anything should be able to get out. But pardoning, no, you can commute their sentences. Commute their sentences, let them out. Then if you want to make something or set up something where there's a blanket, not like, there should be a guideline for people to eventually clear their record. Because you don't want people walking around in this society being forced to be a second-class citizen. Because, yeah, every once in a while people get a break, they get a good job, and they end up doing well, right? But then what happens when they lose that good job? What happens when they get hurt? And they can't go to the office job. They can't go to a desk job. They can't go to work in this field or that field. They end up getting in the union, and the union end up looking past their felony. But what about when they get hurt working in that union? And they go from making $100K a year as a convicted felon to barely being able to make $20K a year. Can't get a work from home job. You're still setting people up for failure. So there definitely should be some type of process. And do I think them people that broke into the Capitol, mainly the people that followed the people that broke into the Capitol, do I think they should be felons forever? Or even the people that broke into the Capitol, should they be felons forever? No. But should they be felons for about the same amount of time as everybody else suffering with a felony should have to be? Yeah. I don't believe in felons forever. But I don't believe we should just let people out because they're supposedly on our side. Because you see how psychotic this is getting. Dude wants to pardon the whole death row. He wants to pardon people worse than Charles Manson and Jeffrey Dahmer. Oh no, Jeffrey Dahmer wouldn't get a pardon in this situation and let out of jail. Just a dude that did stuff worse than him. Matter of fact, I'm going to do an after show on Rumble. Not tonight, because it's past midnight. And I got to get my ass to sleep. No, I still have 2 cut room in them. I'm not going to be sitting here all night talking to y'all. But I got to wind down and get my mind off this. But I want to do a little detailed report on all 40 of these inmates on death row. So we'll probably do it. I'll try to do like 4 a day. So I guarantee it's not hard to find these 40 names. So maybe I'll do like an hour after show on Rumble, Monday through Friday, right? If we do 4 a day, it'll take about 3 weeks because I don't work on Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday's a night show, so we're not doing nothing too crazy on here. So it would take us 2 weeks and 2 days, right? So I'll start it up on Monday. So you can come to the website and see it, or if you got Rumble, you don't need a Rumble account to look at Rumble. But Rumble will let you talk about a lot of these sensitive topics that YouTube's a little bit too pussy to host. And if we end up getting banned from YouTube or Twitch or Facebook or whatever after this, and we can only stream on Rumble, I'll probably start off the show. I'll probably start off the show talking about these sick fucks. But there's no reason to pardon people on federal death row. We are talking about people that literally ate people across the country and were fucking hurting kids. Why are we going to keep letting people out that hurt kids? There's a lot of people that's been in line a lot longer that deserve a pardon. Now, I don't even think that I deserve a pardon, right? Not at this point. Not at this point. I just got out of jail like 10 years ago. Do I think that I'm eligible or whatever, or I should start having all my rights back? No. What about my friend that got convicted in 1997 that can't even fucking work at Walmart? He ain't been in trouble since 1997. Now he's almost 60. He's almost 60. I got a friend that's almost 60 that got a felony from 1997 and it's still fucking him over on getting jobs. Pretty soon he's going to be 60, 70 years old and he won't be able to fight somebody breaking into his house. You going to make him have to fucking grab something out the kitchen or grab something out the fucking toolbox to try to fight people breaking into his fucking house? There needs to be some type of process to give people their rights back. You know? Except for some of these sick fucks on death row or people that deserve to be on that row. You know? Hey, maybe I got a little bit too much common sense. That's why I don't give me no fucking push on this joint. I don't give a fuck, though. I'm going to see y'all later. You be watching What the Fuck Fake News, WTFFN. We break this down to little news stories or whatever off of different segments that happen. Probably none of it's going to come out from tonight. This deserves to be its own standalone show. Unless I break down the difference in between. I might break it down into 2 different segments where we talk about 01, ChatGPT 01, and then make this, especially if we get banned, I'll make this exclusive to Rumble and the website. But, yeah, guys. Yeah. Also, just for like a little brief shout out or whatever, Passion Services is where I'm trying to teach people how to do the type of stuff I'm doing, thumbnail editing, building stuff. Everything I do is off cell phones. I don't really see a need for a computer anymore, especially because your phone is a computer. I got a lot of content that I'm putting together and stuff that I got going together. My one channel, The Real APC, has been mainly about just nothing, regular life stuff. But I'm thinking about actually making something like, what's that place they got? I think they call them Temu movies or whatever. These little short movies going on. I'm thinking about making a movie about my life. But I'm going to break it up into little segments or whatever, you know. I seen something that was kind of inspiring to me. Dude was talking about how he was living out of a car for the past year or whatever. He only got 2 videos in or whatever. I might even make it. It's probably just going to be on that channel. I've been making the shorts where I'm sitting there calling out fucking. It's basically just been me telling Jake Paul I'm going to whoop his ass if I have to see it. I don't like how he did Tyson. I don't feel like that shit. It made no sense. It made no sense to me. I just knew Tyson was going to knock him out. Tyson didn't even swing that many times, though. But, you know. Yeah. I don't want to be cocky, but I think I'll knock out Jake Paul with 1 hit. It ain't even that I think that, he just don't seem like, what did Mike Tyson say? Everybody got a plan until they get punched in the face. He don't seem like one of them dudes that can get punched in the face too well. He was sitting there trying to duck and dodge the whole time. I'll sit there and let him hit the fuck out of me. I'll just let him keep hitting me. I'll probably be chasing him around. Kind of like how Tyson was chasing him around. I'll be chasing him around like Tyson was chasing him around. And I'm going to just wait. I'm going to wait for that one good one. I'm trying to just knock him smooth the fuck out. Even if I don't hit him for like the first 2-3 rounds and I don't even swing to like the 5th round, I want to make that one hit, knock him the fuck out. They're going to be like, you got knocked the fuck out. I got a lot of anger, a lot of frustration that I want to put into somebody's face. But I know if I put it into somebody's face, I'll go to jail. I'll go to jail. I don't want to go to jail. I don't like being around men like that. No. I don't like being around men all day. I don't want to be around men all day. That's weird. That's weird. Hey, but you know, some people into what they into. A lot of people don't want to admit what they into. That's why they keep going back. Don't let them tell you anything different. I remember there was this one dude, right? He was scared to come home and have his family find out how he changed a different way or whatever. And then he approached this one little young white dude. And he told him or whatever, oh, you're going to have to give it up. He didn't want to give it up. This dude had a big ass knife and he put it through this man, right? And he did that because he wouldn't give it up to him. But the crazy part was we was like in this program where we were all about to go home. He was scared to go home. It was like, it was a halfway, I don't even know how to break it down. It was like a quarter way type situation where you end up in this place where you're doing programs all day and you're learning how to reintegrate with society or whatever. You get to wear street clothes. Your family get to come up there. You're not doing the visits through the glass or whatever. You kind of have freedom to come in and out of the rooms whenever you want because you're more in like rooms with bunk beds and anything else. But you don't get to go outside for anywhere from 60 to 90 days when you first get there. Dude had like a week left. He had a date to get the fuck out of there. And he had up stabbing something. I don't know why I'm laughing about this. I don't know why I'm laughing about this, but it was crazy, yo. It was crazy. Like, do you realize, and that's why I think, I've never seen that man again, too. Now, he might not be alive, but like, one of the last things you do before like you end, you can see it on South Park. You end up pooping all over the place. And it stunk like crazy. It was just blood and dookie all over the place. And it's all because, from what I heard, he didn't want to give up the case. Hey, he probably is, bro. He probably is. We about to be getting off of here soon. I just want to finish up this last story. I want to like leave y'all with something to let everybody know that like prison ain't worth it. Everybody in there was about to go home. And dude was scared to go home. He didn't want his family to find out what he had going on. How he was thinking about the stuff he got into. How he ended up liking boys. So because he didn't want people to know he was liking boys, I think he was getting out the next day or the day after that. He literally he made a sword and like stabbed somebody with a sword. That shit was crazy. I could smell it thinking about it. I think that dude died. I think he died. It's fucked up. I was laughing when I was first talking about it. But it was like more of how crazy some people end up becoming in there. I think that man died. Maybe that's why I don't deserve a pardon. But hey, if I don't deserve a pardon, all these people hurting kids definitely don't deserve pardons. Don't fucking hurt kids. If you hurt kids, you a piece of shit. And I think you should be the 41st person on that list of them 40 inmates. 40 plus 1 equals. Peace.